Well, happy start of the semester. I'm going to put this video probably right at the top of the homepage, just kind of an orientation video. I will have a short list in advance of each week, and I have to build it out for next week, which is pretty intensive. But just to give you an idea, you've got introductions, discussions, paragraphing exercise, and I don't know, maybe like 8 hours this week or so. And it'll probably ramp up a little bit because we're probably going to look at like 10 or so hours a week. I especially say that for people who are busy working and other things, is that might be good to do some of this on the weekend or whenever you have that open day on the weekend during the week to really dig into the more intensive assignments. So this is just one thing. It's a simple navigational thing. You can contact me here, email anytime. I'm pretty quick about getting back to you, but if I go hop on a mountain trail for the weekend or something, I may not get back to you for a couple of days. So don't panic, but email me again if you don't hear back from me, okay? And we'll have our first of many meetings, which will be starting this Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30. I'll send out a link just before, and it's optional, but hey, I'll be here if you want to ask questions about the class, or as we move into the class, ask questions about the content or the assignments, or once we get into essay mode, which will happen, I think, just before 4th of July, so just over a couple of weeks out, then maybe you can talk to me about your essay drafts, or if need be, if you have a good, strong essay that can get better and improve your grade, you can talk to me about revisions. I'll be getting back to you on your assignments, on your grades. I'll also do a kind of a collective response in the class each week to show some of the really strong responses, give you an idea of how we're doing. And then as we move in, I'll have the lead page for subsequent weeks as the home page. And let's see, and I'll always link to that week module from the home page. So you get into the weeks, the modules here. You have week 1 it opens to, but you really need to keep in mind what's above that. I don't know how to link to both, and that is the recording of the entire play, our first reading, Shakespeare's The Tempest. And it's so important that you listen to it while you're reading. It does a couple of things. It gives you the flow of language. And what that means, especially with Shakespeare, when he has these 6, 8, and 10 line figurative segments, really extensive and beautifully wrought sentences, if you will, but they're lined out in poetry, is that when you have an expert reader, as we have here with the Archangel Shakespeare, it's a fully dramatized recording, you really get a feel for the ideas a little bit better if you can hear the sound of the language, the cadence of these longer sentences. You hear how it all holds together. And then we move into, in any week, you'll just kind of go right into the assignments. I'll go through week 1 real briefly. You've got your introductions. I don't always have time to do this, but I typically will give a sample response here, the posting, but I didn't give a sample response. So when you write back to others, engage what they're saying. Don't just say nice idea, but say, I can really connect with when you said this, quote it. That's a great way to start off with a response. And then add because. It's just a way of taking it further, or I like this idea, and it reminds me to some extent of another idea I had about the text, and state that idea. But always, I like your idea because, and then pull the discussion along. One of the odd things about an online class is that we don't meet. Because of that, we require discussion and response. And with that, you don't have any silent members of the class. So you tend to have a lot more, many more ideas being shared with the class. It actually can be kind of cool. So take pride in your discussions, your responses. And it looks like many people have already, well, a few, I guess. It's kind of early on Monday, have already started. And then as you move through, always just push next. Go through the modules, Don't go right to the assignments. This next button is a great example. If you went to the assignment on the Tempest, then you might wonder, well, where is it? Well, it's a link before. It's a beautiful edition, and it's free, which is even better, from the University of Minnesota, this publishing company. And it's just really cool. It's a great edition. It has many things I like, one of which I guess I could show you now. Not only are there great discussions here, but and great background, but when you get into the play itself, it also has something I really like, which is really good, we call them liner notes or something like that, where you have at the bottom of each page, they explain either they're new words to you or they're words that may have meant something different in 1611. It's still English, but it's an English I've never heard somebody say bestir. I know it means here, stir into action, roars. What does that mean? Okay, the waves. So anyway, the first reading you should do is just read through the text. Listen while you read. Go through that Act 1, Scene 1. And then as you get to the end of that short Act 1, Scene 1, forgive me for flying ahead, then go back and the second reading, you read all those notes. What do these words mean? Then the third reading, you read through and you start thinking of what does it mean in relation to the prompt. And then the fourth reading, you get those quotes you're going to use in your response. I always have quotes in the response. It's not that you can't create your ideas without quotes, but for academic writing, you always want the mixture of strong ideas and backup. It's just a habit. So you read, you reread, you get to the, look up everything you don't know, you get to the central meaning of a passage, and then you think of, oh, what lines in this passage, whether it's a play or a book or something else, really stand out to me. And so you always want to read to a deep level. That way when you get to your essay, you'll not only have great ideas, but you'll have really great support. So consider this sort of four-step reading that I explain in the next page or two to be a really strong habit to get into for academic writing. Because when you have to deliver, as you do in an academic setting, on what you're reading, it takes a certain depth of engagement. Also, keep in mind it takes time. So again, many of you might want to do your reading exercises, at least some of them on the weekend, and not try to cram them all into those weeknights, okay? And then as we get into the reading strategy I mentioned, there's kind of a four-step reading strategy. And as we continue, there's a pop quiz on the orientation video, which I'm going to put in just a second. It'll be this video. And then we have a discussion. You'll always have clear prompts, clear questions. You'll understand them after you do the reading. No need to get too much in the weeds on that, but always do the reading first. This is kind of a fun one. How would you stage it? Once you know Act 1, Scene 1, you'll know exactly how you would stage it. And then similarly here, 1-2, Act 1, Scene 2, I get about the lines. I break the play into chunks because that way you're kind of localizing a section that is focused, either by dramatic action or by ideas. And I want you to respond to that after your fourth reading on kind of a deeper level. So that's going to be kind of the rhythm for Shakespeare. I'll kind of bang it out a little bit more so you can see where we're going with it. We've got, roughly 8 hours of work here. We're going to go in all the way to the end of Act 1, Scene 2. It's really a top-heavy play that way. And we'll have a paragraphing exercise on Friday. So that's quite a bit of stuff here. And then we move into next week, and I'll line out the acts and the different things we're doing. And we're going to get through to the end of the play next week, which is huge. It's only about an hour and 30 minutes left in the play if you want to just kind of breeze through like you're watching a movie. But to deliver on it, it will take many times that, because you've got to do your 4 readings scene by scene and then look up all the things you don't know and ask yourself what the main flow is. And I think as you move through this, you'll get a pretty good idea of what's going on here. Oftentimes, and again, don't go right to the assignments. Go into the discussions, go into the preliminary materials. I try to do a good job. Here's a 6-minute video to set you up for Act 2, Scene 1. And, take your time. There's a lot of supportive materials to help bring this to life for you. And, I spent a bunch of time putting it together, but that's on my end. On your end, I think it'll help you do a lot better in the class, and that's the main goal. Excuse me. Especially when you get around to Essay 1. The guide to the topics for Essay 1, it's actually in the book. I identify it here. And then I have a brainstorming activity that has you getting all of the material that you could use for your prompt and why you would use it before you write anything. So it's just a way of setting you up for success. And the video will show you how to organize your ideas, what we're looking at. And then we're going to have a paragraphing process video just to let you know how to integrate quotes and balance things. An introduction and 2 body paragraphs. If you're going to write that on oh Lord, where the heck is it? I think it's on Thursday. Yeah, June 28th. That's Tuesday, and then, pardon me, that's Tuesday. And that gives me time to respond to you on Wednesday so that you can write your first essay on the Friday before the holiday weekend. So I wanted to crunch it in there so that by the time you get to July 1st, you can say, phew, I get to make believe I'm not in any class until after the holiday, July 5th. So there's a nice 3-day break there. But keep in mind, again, to go back to the beginning, is if you're somebody who's really busy during the week, you might want to get most of your essay work done on the weekend. So I'm going to leave it at that. Anyway, it's just to kind of give you a little bit of navigational help to remind you that the recordings are essential, to ask you to go through the modules step by step and don't just go to your assignments. And if you put all those things together, I think you'll do really well in this class. I've built this up through the midpoint, the end of week 3, and I will build out the canvas after the play. We'll move to the novel, July's People. I would recommend you getting that now. I don't have any way of providing a copy of that. So that's the one book you need to buy, July's People by Nadine Gordimer, Gordimer. It's not expensive. And that'll be what we start with on July 5th. And we start running on July 5th. There's no time to, wait for your book to come in on July 15th. So get that book. Hope this gives you an idea of how the class is shaped. And I hope you can make it on Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 for our first class, optional class meeting. Welcome to the semester. You should have a lot of fun with this. Some really good readings. And you'll also learn a lot about writing. And look forward to working with you.